Now let's talk about styling and how you can adjust it, or we will adjust it a little bit. So open up the client app folder and open the app folder here and then search for appcomponent.html. So don't use the TypeScript one, use the HTML template. Angular's router renders the routed components into the router outlet exactly right here. For example, the register passenger component is dynamically loaded into the app component by the router outlet. The app component is also loaded into the index.html file by the main module. So if I want to add header and footer to all pages, I can simply add them to the app component. Well, let's do that in practice right now. Great, so now that you know that everything here is rendered inside the router outlet, and if we want to go ahead and add a footer and a header, for example, we can do that here. Let's go ahead and first of all add a new CSS sheet for some styling. So go into the app folder here, right click on it and add a new item. There we go. And we can simply search for CSS, that's not a problem at all. And then we use the style sheet here. So let's call that app.component.css. Now, again, what I want you to do is go ahead to day 11 in the GitHub repository, right? So go to Git, open up day 11 commit and copy everything from the app.component.css, which will look like exactly this. So here we got some information, some header for footer a tag, and yeah, so everything that we need so far. And as I said earlier, this course is about development, not about styling. So we will not go through a real in-depth course on CSS and all of this, because we really want to focus on the more advanced development topics. Now we have that CSS. Now switch over to appcomponent.html and do exactly the same thing. So go ahead to the Git commit for day 11 and copy everything you can find in the appcomponent.html and paste it in here. Now again, let's real quick take a look at it. You got the body, you got the app nav menu, that was here before. That one is added new, so we got the header here. If you want to enter something, you can do that. We got the div class container that was also here before, including the router outlet. And new, we got that footer here. And as you can see, that footer has some, well, sort of information about what's your LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Google, GitHub, all of this. You can have an icon here, for example, and your brand, and for sure we have a copyright. So just keep in mind, this is only for you to show you how you can add a header and how you can also add a footer to every page. So this is sort of, if you know that from a previous challenge, for example, the shared layout in ASP.NET Core MVC template. Okay, we're nearly done using that. Simply go ahead to the appcomponent.ts now. So here we have the TypeScript, and as you can see, we got the selector here and the template URL. The template URL is directed to app.component.html, and that's fine. And now we can use some styles. So go ahead and use style URLs equals to, or assign the value. You can assign it as an array if you want to have more than one, for example, app.component.css. So this is the file that we have just created, right? Our CSS file. Now save it and start the application now. All right, so this is what we got. So the footer is actually implemented completely. And here there should be an image. So we need to make some small adjustments to make that image appear in. So let's simply switch back to our project. Now what I want you to do is go ahead to appcomponent.css. Here in the header, you can see that we're using a background image, and that file should be located in assets, images, and the name should be plain.jpg. So go ahead into your source folder. Here you can see the assets folder, right? And inside here, if you open it up, you cannot see an image folder. So right click on it and add a new folder, call it images. And now go to the Git repository for day 11 again. Move in the directory to find the assets folder, right? It's in client app source and then assets. And inside there, you can find the image and you can download it and put it right inside here. So this is where you get the image from. Now I had that on my desktop and simply dragged it into that folder. So assets, images, and inside there is the plain.jpg. So again, listen, you can find the JPEG inside of the GitHub repository in commit 11th day. Now everything should be working. We got that asset, images, plain JPEG, which is actually matching that path right here. Take a look at our angular.json file. let me just close all of this here. And you can see Angular.json on the right side. Open it up, scroll a little bit down. And here for me in line 96, you can see assets is defined here in source assets. So this is where the information is coming from, of where our images and all the stuff which should get rendered, well, actually sort of like sound files, images, and all of this should be located, right? So just to show you where this is defined. So if you want to change it and you don't want to have that information in assets folder, maybe you want to call it files, you can go ahead and change it here. And then for sure you have to rename the folder. Great. So again, let's take a look at our app. Awesome. You can go ahead and take a look at this. You can even press Ctrl F5 to reload the page and clear the cache so that every CSS will new or freshly get applied. Great. So now our page looks way more like a real website just because of the image, which gives the user the sense of what are we actually doing here, right? So, okay, I guess this website is about anything with airplanes or flights. And then you have that list of flights, which is really nicely designed. And you got a serious brand identity footer, with some information. Before we proceed to implement the passenger flight booking list, so about which flights have I booked, let's implement input data validation, which is a key learning for you when it comes to Angular.